where success meets psychology in Paulina's way. Strengthen your mindset every week. Success story every Wednesday. Traders who broke through their limits. Psychology session every Friday. Join now. Hit the bell. One session could change your trading forever.
Welcome FundingPips traders, and as part of our FundingPips success stories, we are proud to put a spotlight on a very special trader, Anand, and he's a lead QA engineer actually from India, and he turned his trading journey into a disciplined one, profitable success, because Anand has earned $85,000 in rewards, actually slightly more than that. And during that period, he had become a trader he never expected himself to become. He used to rush the process. Now he's calm and collected in the way that he has put together structure into his trading by working on his trading psychology. So this is where we get to meet together every single week on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Dubai time with FundingPips traders who, like you, at once struggled. And now they are here telling us about their journey, about their hurdles, and what changed their mindset. So, Anand, it's absolute pleasure to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure as well.
Thank you. So, let's start from the top and share with us a little bit about your trading journey and how you started trading for the first time, and then how you started trading with FundingPips as well.
Perfect. The first time was pretty long back, maybe in my college days, probably like 10 years back. So I got to know about Forex for the first time. Someone called me up. They said there is an opportunity where you can buy and sell Forex assets. I just went in, started with $100. Initially, I was lucky, made some $150, whereas I had no analysis, no chart view, nothing. I was just looking at the prices, making some bets sort of situation. Then I lost it all. Then probably, back at that time, there were very less, tools and everything. And slowly I spent some 2-3 months on it. Then I got scammed by someone. Then I totally left it completely. Then probably 4 years later, when the markets and everything, the charts and everything, I started learning. Then I started real money again. From $200, I was successful to make up to around $15,000. So this is on the real money where the prop firms were not there. And this was during 3 months time period. Then I lost everything on a 2 days straight when the election was going on, where I was not aware of the fundamentals that time. Then I completely stopped trading. I was busy concentrating building my career. I was mostly working and everything. And recently, 1.5 years back, one of my friend came up to me. He was like, "Hey, there's something called Profum. You should check it out. You are aware of trading, right?" I said, "Yeah, let me just check it out." And the first thing which came in the Google search was FundingPips, which was available for Indian traders to trade. Whereas I had zero knowledge on the prop firm. So I was starting from scratch. Then very next day, I bought a $10K account, I think, and I busted it. Then I learned about it. I started following a lot of influencers, a lot of these days, a lot of people are trading, and slowly I learned everything. Then I think the first account I passed was around $25,000 account, and still I was very doubtful whether I'm not sure whether I'll get payout or not. I got the payout. I was very confident. Then I went for bigger size, 50,000. Then at some point I was at max allocation. I had good withdrawals and everything, but I was very aggressive with my trading. My win rate was higher, but my risk to reward was pretty lower, and my risk was pretty on the higher side. But since my win rate was good, I was making good profits until I started having a downfall. So I had my 300K account gone completely. Then I started from scratch all over again. Then I decided to learn better. Basically, my psychology was bad. Then I kind of worked on it. Then I decided not to go for bigger accounts. Then I actually wanted to be consistent. At some point, I only had a 25K account where I consistently made profits close to 10, 12K, I think 10K on that particular account itself, where everything I fixed, my psychology, my risk to reward ratio, and not blowing accounts too fast, So I think now I will slowly build up and probably again get into max allocation phase. So this is my,
Amazing.
yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for this overview. And you know what? I think a lot of traders can resonate with the start of the trading journey, starting with the small account, getting the first profit, thinking, oh, this is actually easy, blowing the account. And, the cycle kind of continues. My story is pretty similar with what I went through at the start and then, trying to learn from a lot of different sources. Now, what I love about your trading journey with FundingPips, though, is first of all, you started with a small account to test it. Okay,
Yeah.
then you've gone to 25K account. You received your reward. You were like, okay, I'm secure here. Once you knew you're secure, you started scaling for maximum application. Now, this story also resonates with me because once you receive certain amount from the market, this is where overconfidence kicks in. And
Yeah.
that overconfidence in psychology has a huge impact then on trying to always replicate your best day, I believe. And then you stuck in a cycle because 3,000 is no longer enough, 4,000 is no longer enough. And you think, oh, well, last time I got 5,000, let me try for 10, etc. It's very profit based rather than process based. And I love how you had that transition from having so much, losing it all, and then actually understanding, okay, this is why I need to rebuild, so thank you for sharing that. Now, before we kind of dig in deeper, because we will dig in deep into all of the transformational moments on your trading journey, but what inspired you to begin trading, and what exactly challenges did you face? You said psychology is one of them, so could you elaborate a little bit more about that?
Okay, so the main reason for me to start trading is to have an extra income always, of course. And okay, the coming back to the psychology part. So whenever we take losses, so there is this tendency for us to get it back immediately on the very next trade. So you're that way, that time you don't think right, you don't look at the setups which you really trade. You just randomly enter in a position where your SL is below some. For example, you have a fixed line that my SL should be below the liquidity sweep, but some people, because of that, they like, because of the revenge trading, they might not be able to keep the SL where they need to, so they'll have to keep up, or else they might reach their daily drawdown or their particular drawdown or whatever. So that's where the trading gets entirely messed up. If you take one or two SL, I recommend not to trade that day. That's the best way to not blowing accounts. So even these days, for example, if I take a trade, if I win that, I'll probably, if it's a very good trade, I'll secure 1:4 and I'll lock my account for the payout, then continue rather than I trade my profits. Some people like to compound their profits. It's totally up to them. It's their part of their strategy. So like, it totally depends. For me, that 1:4 is really good. So even if I take a SL, I can recover it in the next 1:4, probably the next day when your setup arrives.
Fantastic. I kind of like that because sometimes it's just not our day in the markets. We could do everything perfectly fine and we still may lose. Sometimes we may just not see the markets right. Sometimes the markets are not playing and it's fine. Actually, moving on to the next day with a fresh mind is something I would recommend to a lot of people as well. But now we have something special here. Psychology, trading psychology, helped you grow as a trader. So how would you say that trading shaped your life aside from the money?
Probably like in the disciplined way, a lot of things have changed. So I used to be a very unorganized person, but right now I'm slowly changing that, and I wait for my setups these days on the live accounts. Basically, like, I perfectly wait for the setups, execute, and before I used to get like look at the screen sometimes. So for some traders, I'm an intraday trader, so I don't need to look at screen continuously. I set my SL and TP, then I'll move away or do whatever. Then if I check my price, if it moves 1:1, I'll probably move my TP into the break even and leave it. If it's at 1:3 and my TP is at 1:4, I'll keep it at 1:1 and probably leave the screen. Like, I don't really monitor, but some people do monitor because it's their part of the strategy. Like scalpers, they do monitor completely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so they have to monitor. So intraday, I tend to use this. And another thing is, I stopped. Now, most of my trades are during London and pre-London. That's what I call it, like just before London.
Yeah.
So, and I try to close all my trades before New York, because like most of the New York is pretty volatile and where market can move anytime, and the newses are pretty bad as well. So I learned the hard way. I kind of lost 120K account where I had still like I think close to $12,000 drawdown because of a news during a New York session. Like
Yeah,
whereas
exactly.
I didn't anticipate that. That was very painful. So I completely avoided New York because it's very unpredictable. For swing traders, yeah, it might work out. But since I'm an intraday and I
Yeah,
try to exit my position just before New York, like most of the volatile days, I'll try to sit and watch. And probably after the news and everything goes off, I have a pre-New York trade. Sometimes I take and hold it till Tokyo. So that's something I
amazing.
do.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And thank you so much for sharing also your approach to the market. And traders, those who are watching us right now or rewatching after, there is one key thing here that I hear in every conversation during Success Story: leave and forget. Enter your trade, do your pre-analysis, set your TP, set your alarms to when you want to move your stop loss to break even, for example, like Anand does. And that's it. And when you set and forget, you are actually minimizing the impact of human error, because the human error factor is the over management and micromanagement of your trades. And this is when we interfere in the process of that, very often we will not see the full potential of our results, of our trading edge. So I just want to put it out there as one of the main lessons here. Now, and then, so there is that, what you have learned from trading and how you transformed yourself as a trader. But then now let's focus on the rewards. I mean, 85,000 is a very impressive amount, a very impressive amount. So what we want to learn now is, what was the most memorable reward that you had received from FundingPips?
Probably like I invested a lot of my trading setups. I had bought a 49-inch monitor, MacBook, and a couple of other screens. Just probably that's the most rewarding thing I have done with the funding reward. Yes.
Ah, that's amazing. So in a way, you reinvested it in your own business, right? Because
Yeah.
you reinvested it in your career as a lead QA engineer, and then
Yes.
at the same time, into your trading as well. And it's always so rewarding to see physically your hard work, that you look
Yeah.
at it every day, you use it every day, and you're like, this is from trading, is really significant. I really love that. Can I also ask if you used your rewards to the ones around you, the loved ones? What kind of impact has it created in your life, other than the most memorable reward, but
Probably
also,
probably
yeah,
gifted some gold to mom. That's like I'm from India. Gold is a very huge thing over here. So if you get
mm,
some gold, they are the most happiest. So probably I gifted some gold to mom and traveled a bit like outside India recently. Yeah.
okay. Okay,
Yeah.
that's amazing. So you were able to, actually, again, it's an investment. You're a smart man. You are putting money into investing into different parts, but at the same time, you are making everyone around you happy, and that's what it is about. So, we love seeing that. Now, another impressive thing is that you're working full time, and
Yeah.
your job is not an easy job. Your profession requires a lot of brain energy, actually, and
Yes.
focus. So could you tell actually traders how to manage full-time job and trading? Because I feel like sometimes a lot of traders are rushing into full-time trading because they feel like, oh, I'm going to get to spend more time on the charts and I'm going to become a better trader. But I think that can be quite misleading. So could you elaborate on that, please? How you managed it?
So my job is pretty nice actually. I really love it. So as my trading strategies like probably not match with some people out there, because they probably swing traders hold it for longer periods, scalpers shorter term. For me it's more like I pre-analyze the market. For an example, tomorrow is Monday, probably Saturday or Sunday I sit down, look at the weekly calendar. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Monday till Friday I'll go through it. So I look for any events which might affect the. I mostly trade gold, so I look for
Okay.
trade events that affect gold a lot. Then probably I'll mark some support and resistance, that is very crucial, and also order blocks where I can take trades. I mostly take a trade just before London, and probably after London Open also. That's where the volume come in. So these two trades I try to take. If I hit a TP on the first trade, that's it. So I usually take a trade, keep the SL and TP. Mostly around 80% it will hit TP. If not, at least break even. If it's SL, probably I'll take another trade in the New York. That's it. 2 trades per day. That's it. So it won't take much of your day to day's time, other than if you are sitting and watching the screen, which I don't do. So hardly it takes
Yeah.
like market analysis, probably like 15 minutes of my time, and also another 15 minutes, just to move SL and to break even or 1:1.
Amazing, thank you. And can I just highlight one thing? What Anand has done here, he has fitted trading around his life. Okay, he still took into consideration where the high volume periods, so he can capitalize on it, because high volume periods are important for us as traders, but he did not fit around trading. He fitted trading around his life. And very often, this is why I feel a lot of traders make a mistake, because trading actually meant to support our freedom and ownership of our time. But I feel like a lot of traders often chain themselves to the desk and do not want to move away from the charts. And I understand you need to put in the work, but what's important is for you to set yourself free and own your time. And you can only do that by actually figuring out how you can make your work around your current responsibilities, as well as set and forget. Genuinely, those are two major factors to profitability. And I think Anand is kind of, nodding along. I think he feels that is a good advice from everything that we are saying here. Now, speaking of advices, Anand, what advice would you give to someone new to trading, or someone who's considering to start their journey with FundingPips?
Okay. The first thing is I would recommend them to invest time in reading the FAQ, because reviews and everything are pretty good with FundingPips. So even the payouts are pretty nice. So the one thing, if a new trader comes in, I would recommend him to go through the FAQ section a lot, because I have made a lot of mistakes. I kind of busted 2-3 accounts because of that.
Yeah.
Some rules are very important, and it needs to be placed for a better trading environment. That I totally agree with. So that will be my first um, first recommendation or advice. Second would be risk to reward ratio is very very important, and saving your capital is even very important. So always go for 1:2 or 1:3. Don't try to go for a home run 1:10 or what. It hurts. So when you're looking for 1:10 and your market is at 1:9, and it reverses and coming back to the break even, also it hurts. So always book your profit when you see you are happy. You risk 500, you are making $1,000. Book it, or like, unless or until you can risk it, or you are emotionally or psychologically you can take that hit. So that is another advice I would like to give for new traders.
1000%. I resonate with everything that you are saying. Traders make small, consistent profits every single day, rather than one home run that actually is lucky and you can't replicate that every single day. And I guarantee you this is something that Anand was trying to do when he was a struggling trader. Yeah. I think he's speaking here from experience, when he tried to book those big trades every single day. And I know it because I went through the same. We all go through such similar journey. And that's why human psychology is so important, because us as traders, we go through similar things because of our human psychology, of how we are wired, as people, and how we try different things in trading that actually, unfortunately, are not working. So as you were going through your journey, was there any specific moment in your trading journey at FundingPips, receiving all of those rewards, that you kind of thought to yourself, maybe I could start inspiring other traders?
I did, but I'm really bad at public speaking or sharing my reward. This is the first time probably my rewards are shared online. I never share anything online. My Insta, everything is like blank. Most of the time, I think most of my family members doesn't know I'm trading actually. So yeah, I have a very pretty private life. But it's a change. I actually thought, okay, uh, when FundingPips reached out to me, like I thought, okay, maybe a lot of people are there who are doubting themselves. Probably they need to get started somewhere. So I thought that will be a good thing for me to come up and speak.
It's amazing, and thank you so much for doing that, because I think you are going to inspire so many people, so many traders. You have no idea, but I think a lot of traders will reflect on this conversation and think, I could be, or I was in the same position, or I am in the same position when Anand was kind of struggling, and then look at him now where he is, what he has achieved. It is possible, and that's really important. And I want to encourage you guys to start thinking of questions that you want to ask Anand, because I am going to read those out, so you can really ask, what it is that you want to know, whether it's about technical analysis or trading psychology. Now, community is so important in trading. Do you have any trading buddies that you are trading with, Anand, or are you just solo riding this whole trading journey?
So this friend who made me introduced to prop firms,
Okay.
his strategy is completely different than mine. He is a very patient trader. He probably trades like one trade like in 3 or 4 days. I trade like 2 trades a day, so that we are two different personalities completely together. But we do discuss how much we made and how much we'll taken. Why did I take a trade? So we discussed that a lot of times, and and I did came across another trader from FundingPip Discord channel itself, who is basically from
Nice.
India. So we don't we discuss the strategies and stuff, but we don't take the same, we don't share our current trades or whatever. But it's good to have someone who believe in us. There are few people where they are against completely trading, like where people think it doesn't work, or you, it might affect you or whatnot. Yeah. So community is good, and I built a lot of my confidence from influencers, basically. Probably I don't want to mention the names, from Instagram mostly, like a couple of psychology tips, and your channel as well, and a couple of the strategies also. But yeah, you do what's best for you. If it's
Absolutely.
one strategy, stick on to it, master it, like execute it every day, which
Absolutely.
on your favorable situation.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And yeah, I think the highlight from this is that you should follow the right people and listen to the right people and connect with the right people for what works for you. If what inspires you, which we already had during these success stories conversations, with what inspires you is going to the leaderboard every day and looking at the leaderboard and saying, okay, these people can make it, I can make it too. Whether it inspires you to connect with people through Discord community or FundingPips, do that, which I would encourage to everybody, because trading can feel so lonely and alone. And even Anand, he had that person that he could refer to, share ideas with sometimes, or just talk to, because trader to trader, we always understand each other the best. And even influencers, but do it in a controlled manner, filter out those people who are helping you and supporting your trading growth. I think that is the key message for this part of the conversation. Now, how do you think, because you actually finally decided, Anand, to take this interview and actually talk about your success story, the impact of FundingPips on your success story as well, and you decided to do it. Now, why did you decide? Because why do you think initiatives like this, conversations like this, are important to share with other
So,
traders?
for example, assume 50,000 people are watching this. They might get some trade ideas, or at least, first of all, they have a hope that this is working, the system is working.
Yeah.
FundingPips is paying out, and they are pretty good prop firm. The first thing. The second thing is probably whatever I suggested. If for an intraday trader, it might work out. Probably the risk to reward ratio might be a good advice. Staying out of during high news, like exiting trades during that time, unless you have a very low position there. A bigger trade will probably gets your account to draw down in seconds. You might make big money, you might lose your account. So it's like more or less like a gamble at that time. Your analysis, your trade strategy, nothing matters during the news events most of the time. So that's a lesson I learned, like paying a $120,000 account where people can learn it for free right now. So that's
Yes.
another thing I think people can get to know about it.
Definitely. It's all about utilizing that right information as well. So, if someone from the audience asked you for one piece of advice, what would it be?
Probably, even if you burst account, never give up the next day.
Okay.
Keep basically.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Now, guys, it's your time to start asking questions. So please type the questions in on YouTube comments, and I'm going to read them out. Now, I have question number 1, which is, as an engineer used to logical systems and predictable outcomes, how did you train your mind to accept uncertainty in trading?
So like it takes time. Like I am a human as well. I had like one when I lost the max funding from FundingPips. That day was devastating. Probably like 2-3 days I had a lot of I was not able to cover because I had bigger plans with that account, and I carried it around like a lot of time. Then I realized probably I'm doing a lot of wrong things. I have to discipline first, like completely. I have to, and I was busting accounts like pretty fast. So I decided I'll go small, like the smallest possible. 25K was decent, and I proved myself being consistent to it. Now I'll probably go again for the bigger score and go for max allocation again.
Amazing. See, guys, you can build from 25K accounts, from smaller accounts. You don't have to shoot for 100K straight away. But whatever fits you, of course, and your trading psychology is extremely important. Thank you for answering that. I have another question, which is, how do you manage losses? Have you ever been in drawdown and then later you came back on that account to being profitable? How did you do it?
Oh yes, this is an epic story, and it's one of my best trades in FundingPips. So
Okay.
it was a live 100K. My account was down to 92,000 something. So it was the last. So I usually risk around 1% on live account. I used to risk 3 or 4% before, but that was long way back. Now I risk 1%, sometimes less than that. Mostly 1%. I'm sticking on to that. 2% if my trade setup is very nice and I'm very confident that it will hit. So probably I'll take 2% that time. 1% is my fixed right now. So from 92,000, I entered a trade which I over leveraged. I was doing a very wrong thing back then. On 100K, I think XAU gold you can take 10. I took max 10. So if it moves 2 pip down, my account is gone. So,
Wow.
but for my favor, it moved 15,000 up. My account recovered and I was up 5,000. I would recommend not to do this. It was a very bad thing from my side. So that I exited the trade at $5,000 profit, but it went up to $35,000 if I have hold it. But
Wow.
that's a secondary story. But this is something like a life-changing trade which I took, but I never tried to replicate it that again.
No, let's face it, you got lucky there. The analysis was there, etc. You got lucky there. If you entered with normal risk, fine. But you got lucky that sometimes luck plays in our favor in trading. Or like you said, don't replicate it. But I'm glad that you actually recovered. Wow, what a story. I really love this. Now, another question is, can you tell us, how can I control my emotion?
So yeah, if it's very easy to say, but it's very hard to follow. Like because I've been there where I have purchased like 5-6 accounts in a like back to back, and I have taken hits. So these days, if I take a stop loss, I'll just ignore. I don't look at charts mostly. I'll probably concentrate on my work or like do something else. If it's like walk my dog, that's another thing which I do most of the time. It calms your mind, and probably then like don't look at the screen. That's the big thing, because every screen looking at the screen will make you think, oh, okay, this is an opportunity for me to enter, this is an opportunity for me to enter. So it's very hard to stay away, but you have to start doing it. So if it hits, then probably wait for your next setup, and like you have to train your mind for that. It's so that's the only outcome. Like it's not easy.
Of course, it's not easy, but would you agree that it's like a repetition and training? And at the very first stages, you will feel literally uncomfortable doing.
Yeah,
Would you agree?
yeah, I totally agree. And even it you'll feel even bad when you lose in another account on top of that. So it's better to have one SL and secure your account, and probably you have a better opportunity tomorrow or later, or whenever this setup comes in.
So I think the conclusion here is all of you need to get a dog, and you need to walk your dog when you're in a trade. That way, the dog is going to save your account. But the key thing is get away from the charts. Stop micromanaging your charts. there's this illusion of control that we go through as traders, that we think the more we stare at the charts, the more control we have, and somehow it's going to move our direction. I think one of the best trades I ever had is when I was away from my charts and forgetting that I'm actually in the trade, and then looking at it thinking, oh wow, I am in deep profit here, you know, because there is absolute zero interference of my psychology and any type of panic, you know, so it's absolutely fantastic. Now, I have another question, which is, how many years did it take you to start being consistent as a trader?
So probably I started FundingPips like a year, 1.2 years back. So I took a break of 2 months when I when I missed my max allocation. Then I started back again. Probably profitable trader in a 1.5 months, but a very good trader probably took me 1.1 year, around 9 months.
Okay. So, okay, I mean, in 1.5 years, earning 85,000.
Yeah, close to 1.5
with FundingPips is phenomenal. That is pretty much 2 years salary. Kind of, you know, if you would split it per year, etc., that's a very decent salary to have per year for a lot of careers. So it's absolutely phenomenal. Plus, you're working full time. So I really hope that next time you hit your milestone, 200K, we are meeting here again and we're talking about it, or perhaps in person.
Sure.
Okay. Sure. Now, what is it that you want to achieve actually? Because I'm saying to you, okay, you hit 200K, we're going to meet again. But what is it that you actually want to achieve now that you revisited your journey with FundingPips after losing your max allocation? What are you aiming for?
So again, yeah, I would again like to go for max allocation, and I've been eyeing on futures now. So funding ticks, I've been testing the waters here and there. I purchased a couple of accounts. So probably like once I'm max allocation and I'm securing regular payouts every month, probably like a single payout or 2 payouts in 300K is going to be huge. Like even if you make 4% on, like I usually take 2% or 3%. So I'm being very consistent right now. If I make probably sometimes if I make 1.5% itself, I'll wait for my withdrawal and collect. But it depends on people's hunger. So 3% on 100K will be like more than enough for me. And if I've done that, I'll probably start looking at futures. Like I've been learning about it and like purchased a couple of accounts and probably like explore there as well.
Okay, so funding ticks is next.
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. We're going to have an interview on another channel for that. So I have another question, guys. I'm going to ask 2 more questions. So please drop another one, and then we are going to wrap it up slowly. But the next question is, Anand, do you journal your trades? If you do, what are the main points that you focus on in your journaling?
So to be honest, I should start that again. I don't currently journal my trades. I remember my setups. I enter and I'll just move ahead. Like, and also funding, if I want to go through my trades, I used to backtest before. The FundingPips dashboard helped me out a lot of way. So I went to the old blown accounts. They still have the data and stuff. So I went through the trades manually, looked at the positions on the trading view, and figured out, okay, here I made a mistake on the live accounts. So that's how I learned over there. So I think personal journaling, I think the tech is grown enough, and FundingPips have the charts and your entries, everything is there in the dashboard. So I'm a very lazy person, so I don't really journal. So it's my personal habit. But yeah, I have the data. Why should I spend some time there? So yeah.
I don't think you're that lazy. You're working full time and you are trading, you're doing pretty amazing. So please don't say you're lazy. And actually, I'll be honest, at a certain stage that you reach on your trading journey, you stop journaling. You know what you are doing, what you're supposed to do, etc. It is important at a certain stage, but then you get to a certain stage that you no longer do it. I personally don't do it anymore either. I know my trading now. I don't need to. And if I want to review my trades, I would just go through the charts and review the data from the past, for example, So I completely understand that. All right, last question. I'm going to be very, very picky about that last question. So please, guys, drop it in. You have, by the way, Anand, so many positive comments here. I think you've created such a beautiful impact on the traders. They are finding this conversation extremely inspiring. I have a very beautiful question, actually. Are you happy with where you are in your trading, or do you want more?
Currently, I'm pretty happy, I would say. Like from where I was, currently I'm very proud of myself looking at the dashboard and the payouts. So like I had bigger payouts, to be honest. Like I had very big payouts, but
Yeah.
lately I had consistent payout. That is even better actually. So one big win and you're not able to achieve it, then you are doing something terribly wrong. But right now when I look at my withdrawal page, I'm pretty happy because every 14 days is like the payout cycle. I have a payout locked in without any major risk, without going my account in a larger drawdown. So that's because if I take an SL, I don't trade that day, probably two SLs, 1%, 1%. The next day I take, if that trade is successful, I am regaining the 2% plus the 2%. That's why I say risk to reward ratio is very, very important when you are looking at the performance, or maybe live trading as well in the future.
Amazing. Anand, thank you so much for your time, for what you shared with everybody here. I personally think you are extremely inspiring. In such a short period of time, you had achieved so much. Not easy. It's still kind of showcase certain obstacles they had to go through, losing max allocation, etc. But you keep going. You keep going because all of that, it's a drawdown that we experience as traders. Even when we are consistent, you may still lose an account. You may still sometimes not do perfectly fine, but it's about how you pick yourself up, how you learn from it, how you move forwards. And I really appreciate your honesty and everything that you shared here with us. Now, what are your last words to the traders as a goodbye message before we disconnect?
Thank you so much for who came by, and hope you got few ideas, and probably I inspired a bit of everyone, and probably we can again catch up when I make a 200K in the future year.
It's a deal now. Okay, 200K is, well, Anand, thank you so much. We are going to include Anand's social media handles in the description of this video. And please also go into the comment section after this video and tell us what you have learned, because I think it's so extremely important for us to understand what you're learning through these conversations and what you want to learn more about, because that is going to help us to create the right content for you and to make sure you feel supported all the way through. And as always, I want to invite you to the Trading Psychology series every Friday at 5 p.m. Dubai time. And as Anand has said, psychology is the key, or was the key at least, on his trading journey. So I would like to invite you all to join us on Friday. We will be talking how to learn trading, how to learn about psychology, what is the short-term and long-term memory, and how that has an impact on how you understand the information that's in front of you. Anand, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Guys, thank you so much. We are going to love you and leave you. Take care and see you next Wednesday. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Where success meets psychology in Paulina's way. Strengthen your mindset every week. Success story every Wednesday. Traders who broke through their limits. Psychology session every Friday. Join now. Hit the bell. One session could change your trading forever. FundingPips. Built by traders for traders.